Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's 7:32. We have a fairly light agenda this evening. So first item on the agenda, Debbie Madden, Echo Pool and Patio, 62 Forest Glen Drive, application for construction of in-ground gunite pool. Are you hearing that? You want to just come on to the table there, just sign in, and then,
I signed in.
oh, you signed in already? Okay,
Sit
thank you.
here.
Sure, if you could, yeah, the mic will pick you up there. So if you want to just, everybody has a copy of what you propose, so you want to just generally say what's going on here, and then we'll talk about it.
We're putting in a gunite pool, and it's a tight yard because there's a very steep slope, and there's a well there, so there isn't a lot of room to manipulate where we put the pool. And we've been through, these are the 6 different designs that we try to make it the most environmentally friendly, where we do the least amount of destruction with the earth, because it is such a steep slope, and this is what we came up with. It is a gunite pool, so the probability of any leaching of water out of that structure is extremely, extremely, extremely slim, and it is a cartridge filter, so there's no backwashing.
Okay. I just had a couple little questions. I noticed the pool equipment is located closest to the wetlands. Is there a way to move that someplace else, or is that?
We could try to move it somewhere else. We're trying to keep it on the same level as the pool and trying to put it where we're not gonna see it.
Mm-hmm.
But we could move it down towards this way if we need to,
Okay.
and hide it with shrubs or landscaping.
How is it sloped? It's hard to tell from.
It slopes from the back of the house, like, all right, if you're at the back of the house, it's sloped down like that, 10 feet, a 10-foot slope.
Okay, so
from
the pool is on below the house level, is that it? Or?
It's kind of in the middle,
Okay.
So
a little bit lower than the middle, so it's closer to the low end.
So you're cutting and filling, or?
Cutting and filling a little bit, and filling a little bit on the other side. And it's where we have it, it leaves the least amount of wall, because if we put it at the low end, on the right side of the house, we'd have a gigantic wall on the left side. Right, and if we raised it too high, then we'd have a gigantic wall on the right side. So we kind of located it where we have to do the least amount of moving earth around.
Are you going to be able to keep whatever you dig out on the site, or does it have to be trucked off in order to make this work?
I think we can keep most of it if you want us to haul it away, but
No,
we're
I'm
gonna
just
be
curious.
using a lot of it in the backfilling. So we are gonna be using some of it.
So there's another wall behind the pool that's gonna get built?
Actually, not behind the pool, down over here is this is just a boulder wall, right? Yeah, just a boulder wall. It's not really behind the pool, because once we get back behind the pool, we're at a very close level to what the earth is at that point. So it's down here,
So it's
that's a
between
boulder
the pool
wall.
and this playscape?
Excuse me?
It's between the pool and the playscape?
I'm not sure which drawing you're looking at.
The same one.
I'm looking
No.
at this drawing, and also I'm a little confused about the dimensions, because in this drawing it shows, 30 plus feet to the wetlands,
That didn't have patio in it.
and this one has 13.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
it's
one
a
with
patio.
30 plus didn't have the patio in there.
So it's
Well,
thirty.
but it doesn't look like 20 feet worth of decking in here.
So it's 30 feet to the edge of the water, of the pool,
Yes.
to the wetlands.
Yes, for the outside, I think it's the outside, I don't seem to have that.
Well, okay, but if it's that,
At least, yeah, from the pool, the 13 is patio, not pool.
What are the wetlands there? Is it just shrub, or is it real wet trees and?
It's trees looks like forest.
Is the area where the pool's located currently lawn, or is that?
Yes, it's lawn.
Lawn.
Development is-
Yeah.
Terry, are you familiar with the property, or
I'm not familiar with the
Yeah.
property.
is this something you think you could handle administratively, or?
I have a question
Oh,
about the pool equipment, you know, that makes it work. Is it, in this particular design, is it located such that it's below the pool,
No,
above
it's-
the pool?
It's the bottom of the pool equipment is at the same level of the water of the pool. And.
Got it, so the equipment itself is all above the level of the water.
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
I understand. That's the right way.
A question as well. I'd read that the interior of this type of pool is susceptible to algae and it needs an acid wash from time to time. Is it-
They're actually
Tell me.
they're doing a pebble finish. Well,
Okay,
the algae you wouldn't need to do an acid wash because the algae, if it's a plastered finish, you might want to acid wash the pool 15 or 20 years down the road just to make it
Okay.
look clean, but it's an option like washing a house. You never have to do that.
thank you. I do not have a pool. I just,
And it would be very hard for me to go into a scientific explanation of the
Okay.
chemicals, and then I won't
Okay.
do that to you.
Is there gonna be pool chemicals, stored anywhere here, or is it in the pool equipment shed? or,
Probably in the garage, right, that's completely on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay, so it won't be chemicals.
Outside of the house.
It's a chlorinated pool, not a salt? You're gonna use chlorine?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's no draining of the pool. You don't drain this.
Terry, do you think this is something you're comfortable handling administratively, or is it something we need to? have?
Sure, no, I think it's very susceptible to assignment, to your agent. I think that in these sorts of things, the biggest risk to, whatever that wetlands area is during the excavation, of the pool. And so, protective barriers such as silt fences,
Whatever you want, silt fence, hay bales, whatever you want, we will do.
and usually, it's useful, because of the slope, to include in our regular, despite our regular conditions, to add in a pre-construction before you excavate. We can meet on the site together and talk about the goals of the
Okay.
protective devices.
Okay, and that I would recommend doing with our foreman construction.
Absolutely, no, the person
Okay.
person that's closest doing the work,
Okay.
just
And
to,
you would be meeting with you?
correct.
Okay.
You know, and because it's a cartridge filter, the backwash is not required. We do have a regional water authority, recommendation. I don't know if you've received this or not.
Yep, I saw that.
And I think that, we could, incorporate those conditions as part of your approval. And I have one question about the area between the patio and the wetlands area.
Mhm.
It's going to be a steep slope. How are we stabilizing that slope so that it doesn't drain off into it?
That is where the boulder wall is, and then once we get to over here, we're at existing land level, elevation.
So where
And so these on the.
where the pool equipment is an existing ground?
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
so it's not then steep towards the wetlands in that area?
Correct, it's more steep down over here,
Mm-hmm,
and that's where the boulder wall is going.
okay. Oh, I see the boulder wall is on the other side of this playscape area, is that?
Yes,
Mhm.
Is there a plan to have fencing?
yes, I don't know yet.
And will the fence, how far, that will also be somewhere between the wetlands and where the pool is?
Our current desire for the fence is to go out, around the side of the house, to fence the whole yard, to go back, into the woods area.
But
Just
will
a-
you have it on the house side of the wetlands, or are you going into the wetlands?
We would like to go, into the wetlands.
Okay, cause that's not shown at all on the map, so it occurred to me that pools always have fences.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get that far.
Yeah. Well, is installation of a fence in the wetlands an issue that needs to be?
I don't think so. I mean, it's just a post hole and it,
Okay.
you know, there's no real threat to it. We have to,
The equipment has to, it depends once who's digging the post hole.
yeah, but usually, yes, you're right. But it's not that, in the general scheme of things, not that disruptive. And it's a one-time sort of thing. We find that fencing is always the big gorilla in the room because sometimes they cost as much as the pool. And it's shocking what swimming pool fencing costs.
We did get a quote on it, that's true.
So, how much you fence your yard, we'll get to see your level of commitment to this pool, so.
Whatever you do for the fence, remember to leave a machinery gate. It's just have a person gate.
Yeah, double gate.
Double gates. Maybe
I
I'm
just
close.
one other question, because I was under the impression that the wetlands were a lot lower than the grade proposed for for the pool. You mentioned the pool equipment is gonna be more or less, that's existing elevation right now?
That's existing grade right now, yes.
So then my question is, and this is maybe for the pool guy, but as you excavate, how deep's the pool gonna be?
8 feet.
There's gonna be water in the hole as they excavate, right?
No, I don't know what.
Well, I mean, I'm not asking you more of a rhetorical question, I think. If you're digging close to a wetland, that's more or less the elevation of the groundwater where it's exiting,
Okay.
the surface. My question, I guess,
The,
where I'm getting to is where
okay,
that
so the
water is gonna
deep
go
end-
after.
The deep end is closer to the boulder wall.
Okay,
So you see where the
Yeah.
equipment is, that's off the shallow end.
right.
The other part is the deep end. So they're not digging very deep there.
Maybe this is a question for Terry then. When water enters an excavation for a swimming pool, is that just pumped out and kept on property, or what happens in that circumstance normally?
Well, there might be some dewatering, although, it's generally for a very short period of time. Because once the gunite pool is in, then it's a matter of managing the hydrostatic pressure, and the groundwater will either go around the pool. And on a site this large, it's not problematic, or there'll be problems with the gunite. So most pool builders really want to know where the existing water table is, because after you have a problem like that a couple of times, you learn to look for that.
Really don't want the pool to float away.
Well, is gunite's poured into the existing hole? I'm not familiar with that.
It's a cement boat, and it's
Yeah.
usually shot.
Okay.
Concrete is blown out of a hose onto a metal framework. It becomes a concrete boat, and I've seen them pop out of the ground.
Knock on wood, not one of
But
ours.
once you put
in
water
8
in it,
years.
it doesn't want to float.
What's that?
Once you put the water in, it
It's
doesn't
very
want to float.
unlikely to float, right?
But you don't want to empty it for a long time.
You don't wanna leave it empty over the winter.
Anybody else have any questions? What's the consensus? Do you think we should have Terry handle this, or do we?
How far into the wetlands are you talking about a fence?
Oh, for the fence part?
Yeah, I'm concerned about.
So we haven't decided, I mean, our desire is to go back, I forget what the quote was, maybe 50 feet around, so the fencing would not be visible.
The issue is that land between the pool and the fence
Yeah, I mean, probably
is gonna get used.
the land between the
In
pool and
May.
the fence is probably not gonna get used because a lot of it's forest.
A lot of it is.
Forest. So,
And why would you wanna put the fence back into the wetlands if it's forest?
oh, to make,
As opposed-
just to make it not visible. We just wanna go back a little ways into the forest so the fence is not visible on the far side.
Any standing water in that wetlands that you've seen, except for last night?
Standard. No, well, when it rains, you definitely get water passing by, but there's no pond or anything.
No running brook, no intermittent stream, no pond.
No, definitely when it rains and in the wet seasons, you can get water running by. So on the property above us, I don't know how long ago they did it, but they have a pipe running through. And in the pipe, their drainage pipe kind of ends at our property line. And so all the water that comes out of that pipe kind of filters and then
It's amazing how people do that,
runs
by the way.
across the back of
Right, right,
ours.
right.
You might have trouble keeping the fence exactly the way you want it if it's in really wet land.
Yeah, but it's not, most of it's sparse, so we,
Yeah, well, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, I'm just saying the posts tend to move. If it's really mushy soil.
yeah, it's not
you
that much,
just-
we've had the kids that sort of walk back there.
You should do what you want.
Jack, if you want, Jack, we can take a look at that when we're out at the pre-construction meeting and talk about where that fence should be.
Okay. We can put that into the,
Into the comments to
into the
Terry,
comments.
yeah, okay. Any other questions?
One of the big reasons to, sitting here, in the last days of September, is that, if this is gonna be a pool this year, we should probably be starting it soon. And if we don't use the authorized agent process, we save them 30 days, and
Right.
that 30 days will be very useful to them.
Both to build the pool and stabilize everything around it before winter.
Right.
Okay. Well, how was everybody thinking? Are they comfortable delegating it to Terry? We'll take a vote, but
Yeah,
we just want to
I
talk
am.
about it first. Jack, how about you? You seem.
I'm okay with Terry being on site.
Mhm.
Pardon me?
I'm okay with you being on site for the pre-construction,
Okay,
and maybe even the construction.
okay.
All right, then, do we have a?
Do you know if there's any, solid rock in there, or are they gonna have to do any blasting to dig this hole out?
There's none visible in the ground, there's no, I mean, you don't know 100% till
yeah,
you
you
open
don't
it up,
know.
but there's nothing visible. I would be surprised if we hit ledge. Cause there's nothing visible and, like I said, there's a steep slope and typically if there was ledge, we would see something.
The rock in this area is typically that undulating, diggable shale that has defined Woodbridge in terms of when it's closer to the surface, we have wetlands, and when it's not water generally doesn't go through it. But the good news is that we don't frequently have to blast. It's not a granite, it's a diggable shale. I've presided over a lot of excavations, and in this particular neighborhood, it's unlikely that we'll have to blast.
Okay.
There are other neighborhoods where it's very likely that we would have to blast.
Okay, so we have a motion to delegate the matter to Terry with comments to incorporate the Regional Water Authority comments, have a pre-construction meeting, and be mindful of where the fence
Fence.
placement will be.
Oh, so make the motion.
Jack moved, second.
I'll second.
Dave seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, okay, 5-0, that, so what that means, you save a month, basically. You deal with Terry, he'll review, finalize the plans with you guys, give you a permit, and then you can start without having to wait till next month for us to come
I
back.
have a permit packet with me, should I leave that with you now, or let you speak with Greg, our general foreman, first?
You should probably send him in
First,
with it.
okay. All right,
Okay, thank you very much.
wonderful, thank you,
Have a good evening.
thank you. So should I just have Greg call you directly at the town?
Good luck, thanks.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, David Bryce, 32 Cow Path, request for return of remaining performance bond regarding the building of his house.
We,
Thoughts?
we looked at this, about a year or so ago, we decided that it needed, more of an effort on, the homeowner's part. We're recommending, now a year later, that, if you could kindly delegate it to, myself and what I do is I bring out, our engineer, consulting engineer, and we have a last look at it. There hasn't been, it's been fairly stable as far as I'm concerned in the last several months. So, and it now has some age on it, we don't have any complaints about it, so I think it's stable, but we go through the rigor of having you delegate it and then at the same time we make a finding based on some physical examination.
Okay. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Had a good test yesterday.
We sure did. And we have a high level of cooperation with this property owner in this house, so.
Mhm. We have a motion to delegate that, the bond release to Terry.
Yeah, so.
Dave moved, we have second.
I'll second
Barry seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstentions, okay, 5-0, that's approved.
I'm sorry, who moved that?
Dave
Oh, Dave, okay.
and Barry seconded.
Uh-huh.
Okay, enforcement officer report, anything going on, Terry, that we have to worry about?
I have nothing to report.
That's good. Anybody have any concerns they wanna bring to Terry's attention? Okay, all right, no site visits.
TV on at night at 220 Seymour Road, but other than that.
TV on at night?
Yeah, early evening.
Still pretty much a parking lot.
It's a lot cleaner last time I went by, it was really pretty clean. I mean, I wouldn't say,
There seems to be an ebb and flow.
Yeah,
okay, I must have
definitely.
been buying a slow down.
Yeah, on a good day, it's like you say, some other days it's not.
No certificate of occupancy for that building.
Is there somebody there though? Cause the TV runs nonstop and the lights are on all the time.
I get complaints about the lights from the neighborhood. And we don't have any rules about lights.
Right. Yeah, the electric bill's gotta be high though, I guess.
I think that and I can't prove that it's occupied. It has an active building permit. There's been no final inspection, no certificate of occupancy. And I think more critically, there's been no resolution of any wetlands issues that are present on the site, which I think is much more compelling than any of the things that I just mentioned.
Looked like there was a lot of growth in the back there, though, protecting the pond area. Is that still the case?
There's some growth, but, we don't have our monitoring, we don't have any reporting. We have some promises and some broken promises, and
Maybe we just have Chris send them a letter reminding them of the reporting obligations, see if that stirs up something.
I'll do
Were
it.
there ever
We'll do that.
trees planted there? There were small trees.
Yeah,
Are they still
Yeah,
alive?
but
or grown?
I'm not sure what has survived. There was a big planting plan,
Yeah.
and
And as I recall, there was a bunch of plants put in, I thought.
yes, but then they're abandoned
They were abandoned.
and not cared for, and, you know, the first couple of years when you plant something, you kinda have to take care of it before the root gets
I
established.
wonder what the rain did there. It's pretty flat there.
Yeah, but we have, if you recall, we have a lot of water coming off the road, off to the right of the building. So, we've been chasing rain events all day today, by the way. We have still people without power tonight.
Were those curbs taken out for the repaving? I know there was some curbing removed, I thought, but I don't know what it was like there. Maybe they left it in.
The only curb that I know that was removed was for the driveway. I
Is
mean,
there-
water's getting into that pond. I mean, that's, you know, it's where water goes, it's the lowest spot, right? But I think that, you know, a nudge in asking for something,
See what reaction we get.
Probably won't.
Okay, next thing is, minutes of July 18th, 2018. If people have had a chance to look at it, I wasn't here, so I can't add anything.
Just a question, maybe it's, I had on page 3, it said, first, I guess it's the second paragraph, bolded, Mrs. Weber moved to approve the application to allow based on the revised, I don't know if there's a missing a word or to allow what?
Something, yeah.
Maybe to approve.
It's sort of a,
Oh, I think
The
this is the
cleanup.
things that we were allowing.
oh,
There should be a comma there, to allow, based on the site plan.
oh yeah, that would work. Yeah, just,
Okay.
that's good.
Anything else?
That's all I saw.
Anybody have anything else? Okay, motion to approve the minutes. Jeff, second?
I'll second.
Barry, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, okay. That's approved. Anybody have anything else before we adjourn?
I will be missing the next 2 meetings because I'll be out of town.
Okay, or we'll miss you.
Oh, well, I'll be having fun.
Oh, that's, then we're jealous. Anything else?
17, is it? 17.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn, that's usually
Motion to adjourn.
regular. Second,
I'll second that.
Jack seconded, Dave moved, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, okay, we're out of here, it's 8:00.